Welcome to another deep dive. Today, we're going to tell, a truly unsettling story. We're delving into the dark life of a killer whose escalating obsessions led to a terrifying series of crimes. Crimes that earned him the chilling moniker, the Shoe Fetish Slayer.
Yes, and what's profoundly disturbing about this case, really, is how the early signs, the clear signs of his deviance were consistently overlooked, or maybe just misunderstood.
Right.
This isn't just a story about a killer. It's a stark illustration, of how seemingly minor childhood issues, if they're left unaddressed, can sort of metastasize.
Yeah, grow into something much worse.
Exactly, into extreme paraphilia's fundamentally altering behavior and leading to, unimaginable violence.
That's a crucial point. We're unpacking the unsettling story of Jerry Brudos today. His crimes really shook Oregon back in the late 1960s, and we'll explore the psychological journey that led him there. So let's begin right at the very start of Jerry Brudos' life. Born in Webster, South Dakota, January 31st, 1939, he was the second son to a farming couple, Henry and Irene Brudos.
And from the outset, Jerry's environment was, it was anything but nurturing. His parents were struggling, the Great Depression. They already had one son, Larry, and they'd really hoped for a daughter this time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and you could really feel their disappointment.
Yeah.
It definitely affected Jerry right from infancy. His mother, Irene, she was particularly cold, quite distant. She lavished care on Larry, the older son, but gave Jerry only the basic necessities. Often left him alone, really emotionally neglected.
So even from birth, he was sort of the unwanted child. And here's where we see a really pivotal and just awful moment. Around age 5, the family had moved to Salem, Oregon by then. Jerry found a pair of high-heeled shoes at a local dump.
Just found them.
Yeah, and he loved them, secretly wore them around the house. But when his mother found out, her reaction was explosive. She didn't just scold him, she hit him, and then forced him to watch as she burned the shoes.
Burned them?
Yeah. He just couldn't understand why something he enjoyed was so violently forbidden. It left this lasting, traumatic impression. He even tried to hide a pair of his teacher's heels at school later, but got caught and sent home crying.
And this wasn't just, a simple childhood thing. For Brudos, this intense punishment for what was really an innocent act, coupled with his mother's neglect and the constant comparisons to his brother, it solidified this deeply unhealthy connection.
Yeah,
between shoes, forbidden desires, and female authority. It all got tangled up through pain and humiliation. This wasn't just a preference developing. It was a trauma-reinforced obsession taking root.
And the obsession, it only grew more entrenched after that. In second grade, he was sick a lot, swollen lymph glands, measles, which just made his mother even more displeased. She constantly compared him negatively to Larry, his healthy, smart older brother. Openly called Jerry the family disappointment.
Right. And that created this environment where he felt perpetually judged, inadequate. It drove him further into isolation. It allowed his secret world, his fetishism, to just sort of blossom, unchecked. He had no healthy outlet for his emotions, or for his emerging and probably very confused sexuality, pushing him deeper into this solitary, distorted reality.
As the family moved again, this time to Grants Pass, Oregon, Jerry made friends with a neighbor boy. He'd often play at their house and started trying on his friend's sister's clothing. Shoes, dresses, even underwear. One really chilling incident, he tried to steal the sister's high heels while she was asleep. She woke up, terrified him, and he fled.
See, that wasn't just childlike curiosity about gender roles or something. It demonstrated a persistent, escalating pattern of forbidden sexual interest. And it was increasingly involving violation, a strong desire to possess items linked to female intimacy. He was moving beyond just wearing things to actively seeking them out in private spaces, pushing boundaries.
By age 10, Jerry was digging holes in his backyard. He told people he wanted to build a prison to keep people captive.
10 years old.
Yeah. And as he hit adolescence, physically he developed significantly. Grew tall, large, but emotionally, sexually, deeply troubled. His parents completely avoided any discussion of sex. They shamed him for natural things like wet dreams, apparently told him he was perverted or filthy.
That profound lack of healthy guidance, it resulted in a severely distorted understanding of sexuality. It fostered these sexual fantasies that were just extreme, violent. He began to obsess about building a cage, to hold women, torture them, force them to satisfy his desires. And he made a vow to himself, apparently, that one day he would make this dark fantasy real.
At 14, his shoe and underwear fetish intensified dramatically. He'd walk through neighborhoods, stealing discarded lingerie, high heels, building this meticulous collection. Then it escalated, breaking into homes specifically for these items.
Right, more active intrusion.
And then, in a truly disturbing incident, he strangled a woman unconscious just to steal her high heels. This wasn't just about having the items anymore. It was about violent acquisition, exerting control.
And that's critical here, that progression. From simple theft to B&E to direct violence against a person, all fueled by the same underlying fixation. This was a clear, terrifying precursor to his later, much more horrifying crimes. It shows this escalating willingness to use force, inflict harm, just to fulfill his desires, an alarming comfort with violence, really.
In 1955, he's 16, Brudos lured a 15-year-old neighbor girl to his house. He pretended he needed help catching a lingerie thief for the police.
Deception.
Right. Once inside, he appeared dressed all in black, hooded, carrying a knife, forced her to strip and pose for photos, took picture after picture till the film ran out. Despite the disguise, his large build made it obvious who he was. She fled, traumatized. But Brudos, he felt this perverse satisfaction, a successful plan. He was eager to do it again.
That early assault, it starkly illustrates his calculated deceit. His need for absolute control, the desire for humiliation. These became chilling hallmarks of his later murders. It also highlights a crucial shift, doesn't it? From just possessing objects to actively orchestrating scenarios, where he could physically and psychologically dominate a female victim and document it.
The very next year, he's 17, picked up a woman in his car, drove her to a deserted farm. When she resisted him, he violently beat her over the head. Luckily, a passing couple saw, intervened, led to his arrest.
Which highlights his impulsive violence when his control was challenged. Low frustration tolerance, maybe, combined with an extreme response. Now, during his confession, he claimed he couldn't control his emotions, but police found photo equipment in his car.
Suggesting premeditation.
Exactly. And a search of his room. Numerous nude photos of women. He claimed they belonged to a friend, but investigators, rightly, believed they were his own disturbing collection.
He was sent to a juvenile detention center. Psychologists there identified his issues as adjustment disorder, basically difficulty coping healthily with stress and sexual deviation. Specifically, fetishism for high heels and underwear.
Right.
He spent 9 months in the Oregon State Hospital, a psychiatric facility. Released in January 1957, the report said he'd shown improvement, an ability to control himself. He'd even attended high school during the day while living at the hospital at night.
And we connect this to the bigger picture. It really underscores the limited understanding back then of complex psychopathy, ingrained paraphilias, those intense, often disturbing sexual interests.
Yeah, the idea that 9 months could cure that.
It seems like a dangerous misconception. Despite the diagnosis, the supposed improvement, he graduated high school with no friends, continued his solitary life, seemingly unchanged in his core desires. The notion of true rehabilitation for conditions like that, it remains a challenge even today.
So after high school, he tried technical college, missed classes, never finished, then a short, unsuccessful stint in the Army. Apparently, his vivid sexual fantasies about Korean women led to his discharge by military psychologists.
Okay.
So Jerry, now 20, returns home. His parents, especially his mother, deeply displeased. They forced him to live in an outdoor shed. And that's where he kept his disturbing collection of stolen fetish items.
That rejection must have just reinforced his profound sense of isolation, failure, pushing him even further into his internal world of violent fantasies which were rapidly becoming his reality. He spent his days just wandering neighborhoods, looking for women, new opportunities to steal more items, increasingly seeking not just possession, but that perverse control.
In 1960, he's 21. He becomes a radio operator, finds a small measure of independence. He even started dating. Met Darcy Adler. She was 17 in 1961. She was his first positive romantic relationship, and he certainly enjoyed her obedience. Apparently, he manipulated her into getting pregnant, sort of ensuring she'd have to stay with him.
So even in what could have been a normal relationship, his core obsessions quickly took over. Was there ever really a chance for Darcy to genuinely break through that? Or was he just too far gone? It seems not.
It seems unlikely.
He quickly turned Darcy into an object for his fetish, demanding she stay naked except for high heels in the house, posing for photos, wearing stockings and heels during intimacy. He even tried to convince her this was normal, what all couples did. He wasn't seeking genuine connection, just control and gratification for his existing paraphilias.
Despite Darcy's growing discomfort, he married her in January 1962. They had 2 children, Megan and Jason. But as Darcy matured, she grew increasingly uncomfortable with his fixations and his frequent unexplained late-night disappearances. Their marriage crumbled. They lived separate lives, really, within the same house. Darcy eventually refused to participate in his fantasies or let him photograph her anymore.
That marital breakdown seems like a significant turning point. Her rejection, especially refusing his fantasies, it profoundly impacted him. It seems to have redirected his predatory desires towards other women outside the home. And he was also getting fired from job after job, over 20 of them, constant relocation, financial instability. Then in 1967, he suffered that severe 400-volt electric shock at work.
Right.
He miraculously survived physically, no immediate hospital stay needed, but the incident might have had a profound impact on his brain, potentially affecting judgment, impulses, maybe even lowering his inhibitions further.
So he's spiraling psychologically, professionally, and then this physical trauma might have just exacerbated his already twisted impulses, almost like it removed a final barrier. It seems whatever restraint he might have had was now completely gone, because what followed was truly horrifying. January 26, 1968, Jerry Brudos claims his first known victim, Linda Serrie, 19 years old, an encyclopedia saleswoman. He lured her into his basement, bludgeoned her, then strangled her so violently he heard her neck crack. And perhaps the most chilling detail, his own mother was upstairs visiting his children, just rooms away, while Brudos desecrating Linda's body downstairs, meticulously tearing off her clothes, dressing her in red lingerie and high heels from his collection, posing her, photographing her for hours.
The level of compartmentalization.
Unbelievable. He then cut off her left ankle as a souvenir, dumped her body, weighted with engine parts, into the Willamette River near St. John's Bridge. He later threw the ankle in the same river when he got tired of it.
That was far from impulsive. It was a carefully orchestrated fantasy brought to life, incorporating all his obsessions: heels, control, photography, mutilation, and the psychological detachment required to do that with his mother upstairs. It's a chilling testament to his profound lack of empathy, a complete compartmentalization of these monstrous urges. This established a terrifying ritual, a pattern he would, unfortunately, repeat.
10 months later, November 26, 1968, he struck again. Jan Whitney, 23, a university student whose car broke down on I-5. Brudos offered help, lured her to his home pretending his tools were there, then claimed the house was locked, suggested they wait in his car. And there, he strangled her using a leather strap during some twisted bow-tying game.
It's truly bizarre, that increasing confidence, the bizarre theatricality, playing a macabre game as he killed her. He then sexually assaulted Jan's corpse in the basement, dressed her, and used a pulley to hoist her body up for further abuse. He later cut off one of her breasts, intending to cast it into a paperweight, before disposing of her body weighted in the same river, following his pattern.
His third victim, Karen Springer, 19, abducted from a Meyer and Frank department store March 27, 1969. Used a toy gun to force her into his car, took her to his house, in the basement sexually assaulted her, forced her into his collection of clothes, high heels for photos, reportedly told her if she complied, he'd let her go.
False promises.
Of course. He then hanged her using a rope and pulley. After she died, he continued abusing her corpse, eventually cut off her breasts before disposing of her body in the Willamette River.
The pattern was becoming frighteningly clear. Abduction, assault, dressing them in fetish wear, photography, murder by strangulation or hanging, then post-mortem abuse, mutilation, ritualistic disposal, same river, weighted by car parts. Each act was an escalation of the last. More grotesque, more depraved, his fantasy life becoming terrifyingly real.
In April 1969, Brudos had a series of near misses, though. April 21st, he attacked Sharon Wood at Portland State University. She was an employee. He followed her to the basement parking lot, but she fought back fiercely, bit his hand, hit her head against the concrete. He fled when another car approached. She described him as a large man in women's clothing.
It shows that even his calculated plans could be thwarted. Victim resistance, unexpected circumstances, reveals a chink in his seemingly inventable facade, highlights the unpredictable nature, even for a predator like him.
The very next day, April 22nd, he tried to abduct 15-year-old Gloria Smith near train tracks in Salem. Pulled up in his VW, pointed a gun, she screamed, ran. Another woman intervened. Brudos escaped. Gloria described him, though. Tall, red hair, pockmarked face. Gave police their first concrete description. Frustrated by these failures, he tried again on April 23rd, preying on 20-year-old Linda Serrie at a Portland mall. Posed as the security guard, tricked her into his car, falsely claiming she'd shoplifted, took her home. And his wife, Darcy, was there.
She was home.
Yes. He tied Linda in the car while he went inside for dinner with his family. Afterward, brought Linda to the basement, strangled her using a pulley.
That raises such a deeply unsettling question. How did Darcy not realize what was happening? His ability to compartmentalize, to maintain this chilling facade of normalcy with the victim waiting, terrified in his car. It's truly disturbing. Speaks to an incredible level of psychopathic control and deception.
After Linda's death, Brudos performed this macabre experiment. Nailed her ribs with spikes, tried to electrocute her corpse, hoped it would explode or jump like he did when he got shocked. It didn't explode, but the area around the nails was severely burned. Then he disposed of her body in the river, weighted down like the others, chillingly claimed he didn't mutilate her further because he didn't like her body.
That escalation into grotesque experimentation, it just demonstrates the complete depravity. His desire to push the boundaries of his own gruesome fantasies, seeking new, perverse ways to control and defile his victims even after death. It reveals a mind constantly seeking novel forms of sadistic gratification.
May 10th, 1969. A fisherman discovers Linda Serrie's body in the Willamette, nude, weighted by car parts. 2 days later, Karen Springer's body is found nearby, only 50 feet away. Also nude, weighted, breasts mutilated. Police quickly linked the two. Noted the specific knots used to tie the weights are not common among electricians. Like Brudos, both died by asphyxiation.
That forensic detail was absolutely crucial. It narrowed the suspect pool significantly, provided a tangible link between the victims, suggesting a single serial killer. The pattern was undeniable.
As news of the body spread, Brudos, chillingly, started discussing the murders with acquaintances, unaware they were talking to the killer himself. On May 14th, police got a crucial tip from a woman Brudos had dated. She was deeply disturbed by his strange comments about the victims, including a bizarre interaction where he asked her to imagine the suffering of the women found in the river.
Wow. Talking about it like that.
Police began surveillance. A search of his garage revealed a green Volkswagen matching Gloria Smith's description, and rope identical to that used on the victims. Gloria Smith positively identified Brudos from a photo lineup.
That combination, witness accounts, physical evidence, his own bizarre self-incriminating behavior, it created an undeniable case against him. The pieces of the puzzle were finally fitting together, leading investigators straight to his door.
May 30th, 1969. Police moved to arrest Brudos for Gloria Smith's kidnapping. He wasn't home. 3 hours later, he was intercepted, heading towards the Canadian border. Darcy was driving. And Brudos himself was hiding under a blanket in the backseat of their green VW, just 250 feet from the border. Despite his lawyer's advice to stay silent, Jerry Brudos confessed everything on June 3rd, 1969, included explicit details of all 4 murders, other assaults. A search of his basement revealed, a treasure trove of horrifying evidence. Rolls of undeveloped film, developed photos of his victims, alive and dead, including that chilling image of Karen Springer, naked except for high heels, eyes wide with terror, fists clenched. Jan Whitney's car keys were also found.
That sheer volume of evidence, it painted such a stark picture of his calculated depravity, contradicted any claims of mental instability during the crimes. The meticulous nature of his acts, documented photographically, highlighted a chilling level of planning and control, not the impulsive actions of someone, out of control.
Brudos was charged with 3 counts of murder for Jan Whitney, Karen Springer, and Linda Serrie. He confessed to Linda Serrie's murder, but because her body was never found, he couldn't be charged for that specific crime.
During his trial, his defense argued his mental state, highlighting diagnoses like antisocial personality disorder, that pervasive pattern of disregard for others' rights, also transvestic fetishism, voyeurism, sadism. However, the court ruled he was sane at the time of the murders, due to the clear planning and execution of his crimes, found him fully responsible. That ruling was significant in how these cases were viewed legally back then.
Jerry Brudos was sentenced to 3 consecutive life terms, became eligible for parole after 36 years. While in prison, he continued to collect catalogs featuring women's clothing and shoes, even asked guards to bring them to him.
That unchanging fixation, even decades later. It just underscores the deeply ingrained nature of his paraphilias, and the extreme difficulty, if not impossibility, of true rehabilitation for such compulsive and violent sexual deviations. It highlights how these core obsessions remained absolutely central to his identity.
Brudos died of liver cancer in prison. March 28, 2006. He was 67. After 2 failed attempts at parole in 1999 and 2005. There's been speculation, of course, that he may have killed more. 12 young women went missing in Oregon during his active period. He denied it, though.
Which raises that important, lingering question. How many secrets truly died with him? Given his escalating desires, his patterns, the full scope of his dark acts, the suffering he inflicted, we may never really know.
Yeah, what about his wife, Darcy? Many suspected her involvement, especially since she was driving the getaway car. Neighbors reported her moving large, unexplained objects from the house, but she was never charged. insufficient evidence. She eventually divorced Brudos, changed her name, her children's names, and just disappeared. Lived the rest of her life in anonymity, trying desperately to escape the shadow of his horrific crimes. The story of Jerry Brudos, the Shoe Fetish Slayer, it's such a chilling reminder of how deeply rooted psychological issues left unaddressed can spiral into unimaginable horrors. It truly makes you think about the hidden lives people lead and the devastating, widespread impact they can have on so many.
Absolutely. This case profoundly illustrates the critical role of early upbringing, environment, and the need for effective mental health intervention. It's a stark lesson in recognizing and understanding warning signs and considering the complex factors that contribute to such extreme behavior.
As we close this deep dive, we hope this exploration has offered you a unique perspective into a truly disturbing case. For more gripping stories and in-depth true crime analyses, be sure to check out the Horror Docs channel. If you found this deep dive valuable, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support really helps us continue to bring you these in-depth explorations.
And we encourage you to consider how these historical cases continue to inform our present understanding of criminal psychology and the complex factors that contribute to such extreme behavior. There's always more to learn, even from the dark corners of human nature.
Until next time, take care of yourselves and keep diving deep into knowledge. Goodbye.